is behind the conflict and fighting in Sudan. Hello, welcome to SSGTV South Sudan Global. If you have not yet subscribed, please subscribe as we'll continue to bring you informative videos. The mother of all wars is raging in Sudan between two factions of the Sudanese military, namely paramilitary rapid support forces RSF and regular army, the Sudan Armed Forces SAF. The Rapid Support Forces' active origin dates to early 2000s, when the government of the forced dictator Omar al-Bashir recruited tribal Arab militia, also known as Janjaweed, to crush rebellion in Darfur region, Western Sudan. The vicious Janjaweed militia conducted ethnic cleansing, mass rape, massacres, and mass displacement of local Darfurians, so much that the International Criminal Court deemed it fit to conduct investigation, which led to the indictment of Omar al-Bashir. It is during the madness of Janjaweed that a prominent figure emerged, paramilitary leader General Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, popularly known as Hemeti, who is believed to command more than 100,000 fighters. However, the growth in influence of Hemeti and the RSF aroused suspicions in the Sudan Armed Forces. The relationship between the RSF and Sudan Armed Forces was fractious. When the mass protests occurred in 2019, the Sudan Armed Forces had to make a bitter choice by siding with protesters who were not happy with Bashir's government response to the soaring bread prices. The ensuing chaos brought the Sudan Armed Forces and RSF together in toppling Bashir. The RSF and the Sudan Armed Forces formed a military governing council, whose chairman was Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, representing the army, and his deputy, General Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, aka Hemeti, representing the RSF. The protesters, even after Bashir was ousted, continued with their weekly protests, demanding the formation of a civilian-led government. Nevertheless, the military council refused to hand over power. Instead, they formed a coalition government made up of civilians and military. This led to the creation of the post of Prime Minister, and Abdallah Hamdok was handpicked to assume the post of Prime Minister, whose function was to coordinate the day-to-day activities of the government. Abdallah Hamdok did well, although another coup occurred in 2021 and the civilian military government was dissolved. At that time, the military took control of the full government. The reason the coup happened was because the military was not prepared to give up power to civilians after elections. Before the war happened, there were negotiations between all the stakeholders in an all-inclusive Sudanese peace process about whether the 100,000 strong RSF should be incorporated into the regular army or not. And if the RSF was incorporated, who would become the head of the army between al-Burhan and Hemeti? This became a major sticking point and fueled a power struggle between Hemeti and al-Burhan, which culminated in the RSF attacking the presidential palace, Khartoum International Airport, and army headquarters. As we speak, the battle is raging on the streets of Khartoum. In our today analysis, we have analyzed three reasons why the current war is raging in Sudan. Number one, economic hardship. In the aftermath of South Sudan's secession from the North Sudan, 75% of oil wells went with South Sudan. This left Sudan economically vulnerable. The decline of oil price barrel in the world market around 2014 compounded the woes of average Sudanese. Bashir's overstay in power did not cool off the anxiety. As a result, thousands of protesters took to the street across Sudan. That was the genesis of Sudan's journey towards total implosion as witnessed now. Number two, feeling of marginalization of of RSF members from Sudan Armed Forces. The ugly truth is that the RSF was supported and nurtured by Bashir during the Darfur Rebellion. The RSF militia constituted the fearsome Janjaweed, which raped, killed, destroyed property, and displaced millions of people to neighboring countries and beyond. With Bashir gone and the Darfur Rebellion faded, the RSF, according to Sudan Armed Forces, has lost its significance. Thus, the Sudan Armed Forces tried to push for total disbandment of RSF. On the other hand, the RSF felt sidelined by the Khartoum Arab elite. As such, the RSF took the law into its own hands in attempting to get power through the barrels of guns. Number 3. Unbridled greed for power. Both Hemeti and Al-Burhan are vying for absolute control of the Sudanese governance structures. This is no longer about average Sudanese interests, but the selfish interests of the two leaders. The two leaders have tasted the sweetness of power, are unwilling to give it up without a fight. In conclusion, we hope and pray that the two leaders will put the interests of their country first before their interests. After all, Sudan is bigger than any of them. What do you think? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the SSGTV South Sudan Global.